Hey, gorgeous Scorpio family, and welcome to our May 2021 reading. Now, this is a powerful month. There's a few big things happening. And this is also a month about integrity to ourselves, integrity to something deeper than our socially conditioned self. And I'm very excited about these themes. I'm very excited about the energy we're going to be working with. And I think as long as we are open to that, which I think Scorpios are, it will be a really interesting, dynamic, magic-filled month. But the big things that are happening this month are that Jupiter is moving into Pisces, your fellow water sign, which is going to be great for you, Scorps. Jupiter is going to be over in Pisces for a handful of months, or like a few months, before he retrogrades back into Aquarius for the end of the year. But next year, he's going to come back to Pisces. So we're getting a little preview here. And like I said, this is such beautiful visionary energy, but it does work with the logic of what we do from behind the scenes is more important than what we do in acting out, being in the physical. So it amplifies that message in big, big ways. We'll talk about it more when we get into June. That's big. It's the beginning of eclipse season. We have a full moon lunar eclipse in Sagittarius happening on the 26th, which is in your second house of self-worth and value. And I think that's really interesting because it's going to be the kind of eclipse season that's going to ask you, Scorps, if you're feeling worthy of your life. And that's a big topic, right? That's a lifelong unfolding, I think, for all of us to work with our self-worth and our worthiness. Even when we think we're doing a pretty good job, it can sneak along. And finally, Mercury retrograde begins. We have a Mercury retrograde shadow starting this month as Mercury moves into Gemini at the very beginning of the month. And then at the end of the month, Mercury begins retrograde. And this one's interesting for you because this has to do with transformation. This has to do with shedding a skin. It works with all this energy in Gemini this month that we are starting to pour into as we move out of Taurus season. Your seventh house, your relationship house, your mirroring house, the one that helps you see yourself from a new perspective, into your eighth house in Gemini, which is all about transformation. So there's a lot of this changing, shifting, moving energy for Scorpios. It's very dynamic, very quick to give you answers, lessons, knowledge, understanding, new perspective, and it can also be a bit intense, I think. It's a beautiful month, though, overall, and I'm very excited to see what it brings all of us. Collectively, there's going to be a lot of quick learning. That's the big way that I would put this. Now, I had a message for you, and I think it's a really interesting one, and for some reason, it just came up for you. And I've been kind of noticing this month that a lot of the messages that have been coming through for me are about going back to basics. The basics that we often skip over and don't take a moment to just be with. And this message was that there's a difference between being positive, right? Being like excitedly positive and radiating warmth. And so often I think in the self-help spiritual world, these things get confused as the same thing, and they're not the same thing. I mean, sometimes positivity can overlap with radiating warmth, but radiating warmth encompasses so much more than positivity can. For me, radiating warmth is it's a state of being, right? And it encapsulates a lot wider range of emotions. You can be radiating warmth and grieving. You can be radiating warmth and sad about something. You can be radiating warmth and be in the biggest unknowing of your life. You can be radiating warmth and going through a time of deep confusion. And that is, I think, the paradox of that state of being and its greatest gift. And once we allow ourselves to just focus on that feeling of radiating warmth, then all that stuff about being positive and controlling our thoughts and controlling our performance of positivity goes away. It makes life, and here's the thing, it makes life so much easier when we get rid of that. Two cards wanted to come out. Queen of Cups and Two of Swords. I love that. Very reflective energies here, very introspective, slow down energies, and that's really interesting. I think the energy for Scorpio this month is going to be about really amplifying the behind the scenes work, the water qualities that we talk about with Scorpio, right? Because also Jupiter is moving into Pisces, Mars is in Cancer this month, And so there's a real emphasis here on how we work from behind the scenes. And there's where that message of radiating warmth, I think, really clicks in for me. I also think, you know, we think about Scorpio energy, we think about 8th house energy, we think about transformational energy as just doing shadow work, just digging through the midnight garden, just going through a dark night of the soul. For me, there is a joyfulness in working with Scorpio energy, transformation energy, because it's so tied to rebirth energy as well, right? And the Taurus Scorpio axis is so fascinating that way. And for me, this is a really beautiful place to radiate warmth and curiosity. The Hermit. But there is, okay, so 3 cards in a row here are all about like deep inner looking, and 10 of Wands. Okay. Deep inner looking. And here's the thing. I think even the most trusting, cosmically connected of us who spend time doing that inner looking can sometimes have moments where we feel like, is this really, are we really allowed to focus on this? Am I really allowed to listen to the depth of my soul voice and really let it give me the wisdom? Because it seems like maybe I'm skipping a step. Maybe I'm getting away with something if I just let myself go naturally where my soul is calling to take me. If I just let myself go to that space inside of myself that allows me to access the radiance of that warmth. And right away, there is something about this month that's saying, you got to trust yourself. Like when I see the Queen of Cups and the Two of Swords, what it immediately makes me think of is about, being at like a fork in the road, being at a decision-making point in our process in life, whatever that may be for each of you. And wanting to be able to just like dive in and just say yes to the thing or say no to the thing. And then feeling like you can't quite move on it yet because you have to listen to something inside of yourself. For me, this is like there's like a big stop sign that says stop, wait, listen. What is your soul really telling you? Not just what you think you're supposed to act like, not just what you think you're supposed like your performance of life is supposed to be. But what is your body telling you? What is your gut telling you? What is your intuitive senses telling you? Because it has the best information. You can try and look external and write up the pros and cons list 1,000 times. And if it doesn't feel right, there's gonna be something that feels a little off, right? I've had this happen so many times in my life where I try to convince myself that I need to go get this thing done. I need to go meet that person. I need to say yes to this project because it's an opportunity and I should like it, and it has felt off. And I've been kind of right every time I've listened to that sense. So there's something about this month that's saying, if you're feeling like rushing headlong into things, or forcing yourself to do something, or forcing yourself to say yes to something, or forcing yourself to shut off from something, take a moment and really look at that and go internal every time. And just notice and witness what's going on there. The Hermit is a really interesting card as well. It's adding on to that, onto the wisdom of the Queen of Cups and the Two of Swords, in that the inner guidance system is really where you're going to want to look every time this month. You could get really confused by a lot of external noise and a lot of external movement, a lot of talking around you, a lot of narratives flowing through the air, especially as we get more and more energy into Gemini and we start to get into that Mercury retrograde, the pre-shadow and the retrograde itself. There can be a lot of quick talking. There can be a lot of quick storytelling. And whether or not those stories are useful, are helpful, is up to you to decide. But here's what I will say. Stories that make us feel paranoid, on edge, convinced there's conspiracies against us as a value, like our value and our ability to live in this world, those stories you're going to want to leave where they are. they are not taking you where you need to go. And that's what the Hermit's wisdom is all about. Like the Queen of Cups is the wisdom of like listening to our integrity, listening to our emotions and our body, give us the gut feeling feedback, the psychic feedback we need to make the right choice. The Hermit energy is the wisdom of somebody who's lived a long time. This is like the old soul wisdom. And this old soul wisdom is not buying any of the stressed out paranoid storytelling that says, you got to grasp onto this. You have to fear innovation. You have to fear, other people. You have to fear things. This is a very grounded energy. So on the one hand, maybe you don't want to say yes to something because it doesn't feel right. On the other hand, maybe you're saying no to something that you're a little nervous about, but that you really want. So depending on who you are, these cards are going to be speaking to a different inner dialogue. But the Hermit card is a reminder that the stories that we tell and the thoughts that we have and the feelings and like the ideas that we come up with, the ones that are really good for us are going to feel good, even if we get butterflies in our stomach, even if we get a little nervous, even if we don't know how all the pieces are going to play out, we feel good. And those are the stories, those are the narratives, those are the thoughts, those are the words that we're going to want to continue to follow because they're much wiser than the ones that weave paranoia, fear, worry, stress, lack, right? And once again, it goes back to the radiating inner warmth. I'm not here to tell you that you have to spend the month of May giving yourself a whole bunch of positive affirmations and being on like high alert for telling stories to yourself that are really, really positive all the time. No. We want truth. We want honesty. We want to get to the point of things. We want to be really, truly honest about what is right for us. But we want to be following where we feel the radiation of warmth from within ourselves. We want to follow that rosy-cheeked feeling from the inside. And here's the thing. We have this Two of Swords, which is already telling me there's something to pause on. There's something to like not rush into. Just take a moment and look around and notice how you're feeling. And we also have Ten of Wands here, my friends, which is a card that's telling me if you're carrying something around. You're carrying maybe too heavy of a workload, too high of an expectations of yourself. And in areas, and when I say high expectations, I'm talking about things that you don't even really care about. You don't even really want to be doing, but for some reason you still feel like you have to do it to this crazy standard up here because that's who you are. Scorpio's got to do it well. They're going to do it well. They're going to do it all the way, even if it's killing them inside slowly and taking away from their joy. Ten of Wands is always an invitation to look at that thing that it's not even subtle. This is not like some hidden thing that you have to like think about and be like, oh, I didn't even realize that this was torturing me. Ten of Wands to me is the thing that like we're sitting here talking, we're having our little reading here for May. It's the thing isn't working. The elephant in the room. And you've known it, you've written it in your journal 100 times, you've thought it 100 times, you've even told your friends, you've complained to a couple of your close people about this thing that is killing you slowly but surely, whatever it is. This month is an invitation to welcome in the possibility that you could change it. Not saying you have to like unravel your whole life this second. But you are allowed to entertain the possibility. It does not have to be there. It does not have to be this way. You're getting such strong inner guidance from Queen of Cups and the Hermit. Like these two are not messing around. They're only going to give you the truth. And the truth is often going to be very simple and quiet. It's not going to be a complex thriller novel storyline about all the twists and turns and rabbit holes you're going to be going through. It's going to be very crisp and clear. The instructions are going to be crisp and clear, and it's going to feel good and easy. And you may look around, wanting to look around for a whole bunch of more complex elements to put into the story, because what is life if it's not complex and riddled with all these mysteries? But there's something simple you're supposed to be following here, is what I'm seeing. And once again, the radiating of the warmth is what we're looking for. It may have a lot of unknowns. It may have some questions. It may involve vulnerability or grief or sadness. That is great. Like, those are deep, true, clear things that we have in this lifetime as humans, and they are part of the radiating of the positive warmth the warmth that we feel in ourselves when we're following our true path. And I think that qualitative state of being, of feeling, of is so helpful in discerning between what is right for us and what is wrong for us. Because I think sometimes we think that in discerning what is right for us, we have to feel manic, hyper, excited, one tone of like high intensity excitement. But for me, what I've noticed when I'm really on my true path, I might be feeling confused. I might be feeling overwhelmed. I might have less answers than I would like to have. I might be feeling grief because I'm realizing that if I choose this thing that's right for me, I'm going to have to lose all these other identifiers that I have with myself, all these comfort zones that have to go away. But I feel this sense of warmth inside of myself, even with the grief and the confusion and all of that. And that is such a great way, I think, to help us understand what's a right choice for us. It's not about the high. It's not about popping a champagne bottle. It's about a steadiness that you feel radiating from within. So focus on that, focus on that, focus on that all month, Scorpio, and you're going to do great. And really honor that. It is valuable to listen to that part of yourself. It is valuable to work with that part of yourself. It is valuable to listen to it. It helps us all. When you do that for yourself, you're doing that for the people around you. You're doing that for your community. You're doing that for like your skeptical parent or sibling who's like, you're doing all that kind of stuff over there. I don't know that that really helps anybody. You set an example not only for yourself, but for others too. So it has a huge ripple effect. We will keep talking about the interesting effects of Mercury retrograde coming up in June. I am going to be covering that in depth over on my Patreon, as well as Jupiter and Pisces. So if you're looking for some more guidance, you want to hang out with me more, you want to relax and have more cups of tea and coffee and chat about life, I would love to see you on Patreon. I'll leave that link below. You can find me on Instagram, on my website, lots of places to hang out with me. And you can also find PinkLune's gorgeous jewelry on her Etsy shop. So all of that is in the description box. I would love it if you stuck around, you guys. I love being here. I love talking to you every month. I love covering all these deep topics. So I'm so excited to see you. I would love it if you liked and subscribed and hung out with me. It means the world to me every time I see that happen. And I will see you all very soon. I love you, Scorpio.